one man saying that is fine. If that's your opinion and you're not in it, that's fine. But there is an entire market of millions and millions of people that agree that it is a store of value. So, you can think one thing, but there's also a market, and markets tend to become efficient over time.
We do know that you will always get paid in Hex on a daily basis. And that is truly the miracle that we call Hex, because it is trustless interest, trustless yield. Nothing will stop that contract from running.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Creed of Crypto. My name is Broke Boy Crypto. I have here with me, as always, my friend and co-host Crypto Ewok. Welcome into everybody in the chat. We got Hex Boar, Valiant Low Key, Hammy, DJ Moonboy, The Rat, Checks My Pulse, and a lot more, I'm sure, pouring in. Do us a favor as you do get here. Hit the like button. We appreciate all you being here. We do this every single Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I have got a computer. I've got a camera. The mic is a little effed up right now. We're going to see how that goes, but the setting has been upgraded from last week anyway. So things are looking good, hopefully, as far as that goes. We got a lot to get into tonight. Richard Hart going off about stablecoins and the Genius Act, which is going on in the U.S. right now regarding stablecoin regulation. We have a lot to get to as far as that goes. PDI randomly pumping. I don't know why, but it is over the last few days, as is the whole ecosystem, to be fair. Things are looking really good right now. Bitcoin might have actually tapped a new all-time high by this much a little bit earlier today, which is freaking awesome. We have Ethereum still trying to catch up, but, doing what it can do. So, yeah, we're going to get into all that and a lot more. It was funny. We were actually struggling, we felt like, to get topics for this show this week, but then a lot of things started happening. We got stuff going on with Charles Hoskinson that is pretty juicy. We're going to get into that a little bit here and a lot more. So hit us up in the chat. Ewok, how are you feeling on this fine Wednesday evening?
I'm feeling good. Things are looking up. The green candles definitely brighten everybody's day. Makes the world go around a little bit better. The sun hasn't been shining too much, but no. Other than that, it's been good. Things are looking up.
Yeah, I think so too. And just crazy to see this level of strength from Bitcoin today. I'm just really, really impressed by this. We saw it get to about 109.8, I think. I think it just barely did touch a new all-time high. So there you go. There we have it. Richard Hart. I don't know if he's going to come out and call the double top on the day, but maybe this is the end of the cycle. That was it for Bitcoin, the double top here, and we're done maybe. But I don't think that's what we're going to be facing here anyway. Things are looking pretty good. And we'll just get right into that. Yeah, Urban Productions, BTC will hit 110K tonight. I mean, it virtually already has. So that is a very good thing. So let's look at where we're at with that. We got Bitcoin at this moment at 108,865 by what I am seeing. We have Ethereum just over 2,500 at 25.28. And its ratio, of course, still not very good. But this strength from Bitcoin is never a bad thing. And even though this has been kind of a Bitcoin-only cycle so far, we haven't seen even Bitcoin charging like this since 6 months ago. I mean, election night, basically, in November of last year. So it is really good to see this. And, yeah, first off, just looking at Bitcoin, Ewok, what do you make of this? Where we're at in the time frame, where we're at in the cycle and everything. Everybody talked about May being a very, very big month, and it's been proven to be so far. I mean, it's been looking pretty good, and we still have about a week and a half left. So what do you make of where Bitcoin's at and the timeline right now?
Yeah, definitely the strength is looking good. You've got this is the daily chart, and the 50 is just now crossing over the 200, which is super strong. When you look at it on the weekly, it has done that some time ago. Let's where even is the 200? Oh yeah, it's way bullish on the weekly. It's been above it for quite some time. Back in January of 24 is when that crossed. So, but looking at the daily, the shorter time frame, you're just about to cross over right now, which is fantastic. So yeah, the strength, it looks good. I think you're going to see, I kind of agree with who said that, Urban Productions. I think we could break through that. Now, every one of these levels, like 110, 120, there's certain levels that people have sell orders set for. So they become these mental blocks or resistance levels. We've never seen them before. So, you have the limit orders that are set for certain crazy levels just to sell off a little bit. But yeah, May is starting to look pretty good. Now, recommendation usually is sell in May and go away, but I don't recommend that this May. I think it could go on for quite a few more months. We still haven't seen anything that resembles a parabolic run. So, we're still priming up for that. As far as Ethereum goes, this little comeback here that was, from the 7th to about the 10th, those couple days where it shot up from about 1,800 up to like 2,500, was a super needed comeback. You've got this 50 turning around and heading up in the right direction too. So yeah, that's looking good. A little bit of consolidation here in this area. What do we got? The ratio still 0.023. So we're still hanging out in that 0.02 area. The highest we've gotten was 0.026 ish. And it's just one of those, it's crazy when it doesn't seem to do a whole, I mean, we make moves like that and it still doesn't seem to gain anything because Bitcoin is gaining too. So it's a little tough, but I think we'll get there. I mean, we've got to get Ethereum back to at least 3,000, 3,500 before you see this number changing significantly. And Bitcoin needs to kind of slow down. It's got to catch up a little bit. So we'll get there. I think we still see that play out soon.
And ideally, I mean, it's not like we don't want Bitcoin to run. I mean, it's fantastic that it is doing it like this right now. It's just that we need ETH to catch up. And I mean, Ethereum, as pathetic as it's been, it is at least perking up a little bit. I mean, that ratio was down to what? 0.18 really. I mean, that's about as low as it got. We saw Ethereum get down to like $1,400 at one point. I mean, literally 50% off from like bear market lows. It was 875 in the bear market. So really insane that it even got there. But we are starting to see a rebound with ETH now. And I guess just to look at a more overall conversation, Ewok, a key number for Ethereum up higher, of course, has been $3,800. And obviously we're pretty familiar with that number in this ecosystem, but getting through that, it's tapped it a few times and then to finally get through it. When do you think that timeline could be to get back around that 4K mark? And then where would you personally see Ethereum making new all-time highs, which would be 5K and above, this year? I mean, what do you think a timeline could be? And, we've talked many times about the possibility of running slightly into 2026. I don't want to get married to the idea. And I don't mean that just like Bitcoin or Bitcoin and Ethereum would. It could be altcoins that do here and there. But yeah, when do you think we get back to 4K? When do we maybe see an all-time high? And then how late in the cycle do you think we could see Ethereum hit?
I mean, as you saw here, it only took 3 days to go roughly $1,000. So I mean, it can happen quickly. There is no rhyme or reason of what really happened. There may be, and I don't know what it is. What happened on May 8th that sent this crazy? Was it the announcement of an ETF or some sort of fund? I honestly don't know, but we could turn around and by Saturday, it could honestly be there. You just don't know what news is going to drop or what's going to create it. If it happens organically, I'm thinking in the, June, July range, we could get back to those levels, which really, when you look at it, isn't really that far away. 60 days, maybe. I think we could be back to those levels. I'm hoping by at least August, we're back in the 4,000s somewhere. If you want to see what what I think it still can run, I think it still can get to 12 or 15,000 once the blow off actually starts to happen. Once that parabolic run starts to take full effect, I think these things can go crazy. So, I mean, I think that's kind of where we need to be in the range of August to even have that kind of outlook for the end of the year of 12 to 15,000. So, June, like I said, June, July, I think we could be back to that 3,800. I'm hoping by, September, October, we're back at least in pressing the all-time high of what was that?
48-ish.
40. Yeah, that was back
I know
here.
because I bought it. So
yeah, at 48, 48, 5, 48, 6, something.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
48, 68 is what it looks like. So yeah. Hopefully August, September range, and then you've got the rest of the year to see what kind of run can finish out. That's my prediction.
Well, you do make a really good point about like just how fast it can move. We just saw with this move recently, it looked completely and utterly dead. And I mean, look, I'm not doing a victory lap for Ethereum. It still sucks. But like everybody else, though, on mainstream crypto Twitter and Bitcoin maxis and stuff have been doing victory laps over Ethereum. So the fact that we at least have gotten out of this, really treacherous area and at least have bounced up a little bit, could be the start of something here. And it shows how quickly that stuff can move, like you said. And it may just be the 4-year cycle. It may just be the way that things move and how quickly things just turn around. And you got to keep your head on a swivel. And we've talked about that many, many times. So
absolutely. Yeah, and these things happen quickly. I mean, we've said it many times before that usually the majority of the parabolic run happens within a month to 4 to 6 weeks anyway. You see the majority of that move take place. So happens quickly. Yep, exactly. Keep your head on a swivel and pay attention, because if you don't, you could take a month off and miss it. So
yeah,
it's quite possible.
Yeah, now is the time to be locking in, as the kids say. So that is where we are at with Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. Let's go ahead and check out Pulse Chain, because things have been looking. What was that noise? Is that something in your background there, Ewok? Or
yeah,
okay,
yep.
No
we're
worries.
good.
It just freaked me out. So Pulse Chain looking good right now. We've been pumping over the last couple of hours, and what happened? You lose something?
Yeah, give me a second.
No worries. I'll keep talking.
There we go.
Okay. Oh, shit. We're pumping even more. I just refreshed my window. Wow. Okay. So we got Pulse up at 4 zeros and a 441 right now. We have Pulse X at 4 zeros, 414, very close to reaching parity yet again with Pulse, which would be fantastic. We have Inc at $2.03, back over the $2 mark. Hex at 00925. And as usual, I didn't have eHex pulled up, and all these sites gatekeep it and don't list it now. Do you know what it is offhand? I'm pulling
0028. I have it on the screen.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I wasn't looking. So yeah, we are pumping. There is green across the board. If you're into speculative stable coins, there's one on Pulse Chain that's up 48% today. It's at 00332 now. And some things have been happening there. We're going to get into some stable coin talk, but there are even, speaking of stablecoins pumping, even CST is at 99.5 cents now. Woo-hoo! It's almost to $1. So that is good to see. But yeah, this is good. This is looking good. I DCA'd right before we got on stream. Usually that's a harboring of an instant 25% dip. So maybe that'll be happening tomorrow. But we are looking good. If you wanted to look at, whatever chart you want to, but, I'm just curious kind of how Pulse is starting to look, because that has not looked great for a while now, and we're really starting to move by the looks of it here. And what's the catalyst? We had the RH video now, 2 weeks old. Ethereum moving up a little bit now. Just the timing of the 4-year cycles. People are going to assign good news and narratives to it and stuff, but I really feel like it's just time. But yeah, what do you make of this move for Pulse?
Yeah, it's one of those. So I think we are just bouncing off. Whoa, what's going on here? There we go. Yeah, we have crushed through the old levels. Where was the other level that we were? Was
Probably
it the
that.
4-2?
Well, yeah, possibly that. But I mean, obviously, the previous all-time low before the events of the last 2 months or so was what, right around 3-1, 3-2.
Yeah, 3-1. So yeah, we've gotten through all of that since last week anyway. It's taken a nice run up when you look at these previous levels, the 3-1, and then you get into the last one, which is about where we're at now, in this consolidation range where it bounced off twice. It looks like it's struggling a little bit. It's hit it 1, 2, 3, and then a bunch of times in here it played around and then it broke through. So yeah, we're bouncing in these levels now. From there, it doesn't look like a whole lot until we get up to 5-7. That could be the next resistance level if we break through this. So yeah, no, it's looking pretty fantastic.
Yeah, this has been a key level to get through. I mean, we're at the point where, I mean, we're almost 50% off of sacrifice rate, but I mean, I think that's just a number that people are going. Maybe it'll still be a psychological barrier, when we get to sac rate, which would be, if you don't know, 3 zeros and a 1. So we're almost halfway through that now. But we, for a long time, have kind of been proponents of like forgetting about that number as any kind of, indicator of anything, or, a number we need to get back to, because eventually there's so much history in the chart. It's
Wait,
over 2 years
what number's
old.
that? Sorry, I missed it. The sac rate? Okay.
Yeah. Now, psychologically, it could be one, and of course, I'm sure there's people waiting with bated breath to sell right there. But I mean, maybe they're already out. There's been people waiting to sell for a long time down here, and they have been. So,
well,
yeah.
we talked about this before. The thing with the sac rate level is there were very few people that got actual sac rate because of the bonuses that were given out, right? I think it ranged anywhere from 1 to 2.5 on the bonuses. So, you were weighted along with everybody else that sacrificed. And if you were the very last person, then yes, you got 1-to-1. So if you put in a buck, you might have gotten the rate at point, the 0.0001. But everybody else got in at a lower price. So yes, while it's still a psychological level, most everybody got some sort of bonus on their tokens and still paid less than that. So, people need to remember that as well. And yeah, we're going to have those levels. The 0.5, the half of it's going to be the mental level. You are going to see some resistance probably and some selling at the sac rate, but when you sit back and you think about it and you realize that you got a much better deal than that, things hopefully work out a little bit better than that. I hope it can kind of break right through it.
I hope so too. Yeah, we're still a ways off from there. And I mean, you can see right now, I mean, like, I think Hexist said it in the chat, like just some of the, I'm not going to use the word euphoria, but some of the positive vibes just from seeing this happen right now, seeing anything but down and starting to see some pumps. Just think about at sac rate what the, emotions could be like. And then the all-time high is 3x of sac rate, which happened basically 2 years ago, a little under 2 years ago. So, yeah, we're definitely getting in a more bullish time. Was there any other chart, maybe Hex, that you wanted to look at within the ecosystem? I mean, usually these are all kind of mirroring each other, but
Yeah, I thought I had drawn some levels on these, or at least there was maybe not. No, that wasn't that one. It might have been Hex, where it looks like it was creating some sort of pennant, but oh yeah, here. So take a look at this bull flag that's printing here on both hexes. Actually, it's they're very similar, but we are very close to breaking out of this. It's a perfect bull flag set up, and we just about broke through. Usually when you have a flag like this, the next move can be very similar to the flag that runs up. I forget how to draw the measuring tool on it, but whatever this level is let's see if I can do it from here to here, and then move it to there. It can kind of give you what price we're looking at, and that's all the way up to 1.8 cents on the the next run up. So
yeah, basically a 2x from here.
Yeah, and EHEX is the same. I mean, you basically draw the same on this chart. I don't know what the price is. I didn't do that, but you're seeing the same type of setup here. Now this one is showing a little red candle here where the other one was green. So, but either way, we're getting very close to a determining point of what's going to happen. Either it's going to break out of it or it's going to break down. So, close to a shit or get off the pot type situation here.
Basically, yeah, going to be taking a giant shit on everybody here soon, and maybe in a good way. So, some people like to be pooped on, I imagine. So, yeah, that is looking good. Hex can definitely poop all over us. We will be very happy with that. And I was just thinking too, something that I've been noticing just from DCAing here for so long is, I think a good indicator for people, because like if you are kind of checking your portfolio lately, now that things are moving again, I know I never like to when they're down because it's just depressing. But if you look at like what the ecosystem could be another 2x from here, we'll say, which would be roughly around sack rate for Pulse, and just kind of forecast like what would your portfolio be and how good would that be in relation to kind of your all-time cost basis or how much money you've put into crypto all told. I mean, let's face it, I know many of us rode prices from the last bull market the whole way down. So you're kind of waiting even to get back to even for some people. But you can see if you've DCA'd hardcore down here, because we've had 2 damn years really at a lot of bad prices to do it, you can see where you're going to be at sack rate, and hopefully it's making you happy at this point, because it should be, I would say if you've been being diligent about DCAing, then you should be fairly happy with where your portfolio would be at sack rate. Certainly not, okay, that was the bull market, yay. I mean, definitely not that, but at least like, all right, I have a nice launching pad here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think you're definitely gonna be able to tell who, as these price levels increase, as we start to get through this, and even if it does a double or a triple of where we're at now, there's going to be some very excited people because they were DCAing the whole way down, right? There's also going to be a bunch of people that haven't done anything, and they'll be talking about the piss poor gains. It's going to be funny. I think it's going to be well determining, and you'll be able to tell who did what in the bear market. Who DCA'd and who just took their sack prices and said, I'm running with it. This is all I'm putting in. So I think it'll be a very telling tale.
Yeah. I think it was more than this. Checks my pulse. What was the all-time high for Hex on Pulse Chain so far? I think it was more
3.
Oh no, he's about right. Yeah, I think he's about right.
But let's go look.
Yeah.
Pull it up.
I think it was a tad over 3 cents. Yeah.
I think it was 3.5 cents, but where was it? Well, there was a candle up to almost 4.3 cents. It looks like
that was in the beginning, though, right?
That was at the very beginning. Back here, this candle went up to. Why can't I get it? 2.9, and then here was 3.1. Looks like this candle in here was about 3.1 cents. So yep, just over 3 cents.
Yep. Well, looking good. I mean, I'm just happy to see this ecosystem here. You feel, for the first time in a while, it feels pretty good buying because you feel like you're buying into upwards momentum here. So very good to see. things are moving, and a lot of things are lining up to make Richard Hart look really good, be totally vindicated. We saw this stuff happen with the SEC. Obviously, the case is totally dismissed and finally out of the way. We have rumblings about the bullshit red notice thing possibly going away here soon. He feels confident enough to make videos and things like that. And we're starting to see, I don't know if you do believe in karma. I don't even know if I really do, but we're starting to see some interesting tides turning with people that may have spoken ill about Richard in the past that are having some things happen, come their way here. So we're going to get into that in a couple minutes, I think. But any final thoughts on the prices here, Ewok?
No, I'm excited. I'm excited to see the way it's looking right now. I think things look very bullish. Yeah, it's looking good. We couldn't be in a better spot. And if you've got, I saw somebody saying, I don't think we've got anything left to DCA, and yeah, most people don't. But if you do, I'm not sure I would hold off any longer. Especially when, Richard says himself, you don't know at any minute a God candle could happen. When he's saying things like that, you better get in before you miss it. And then you're crying the blues, because then you're saying, oh, I'm just going to wait for a dip. I'm just going to wait for a dip. And the dip never comes. And then you're really left behind. So yeah, if there's any DCAing left to do, I think you're slowly running out of time, or very quickly running out of time, not slowly.
And that's pretty much what he does. I mean, he'll drop little clues like that about things as you go. So it's best to heed certain warnings. So if you guys are here and enjoying the show so far, do us a favor, hit the like button. We do this every Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about DeFi, talking about Pulse Chain, and let's see what to hit first here. I think we got to go with the great news that we got just yesterday about the Ethereum Strategic Reserve chart, which we really took notice of just a couple weeks ago when Richard Hart retweeted or reposted, or took a screenshot anyway, of that ETH Strategic Reserve, which I always forget the guy that kind of mans that up. I'm sure we're going to see his name in one of the posts I sent you here in a moment. But he updates that, and yeah, there it is. So that's the announcement of what we're going to get to. I know that it's I don't know why. I should definitely know this, but is Coinbase still number one on it, or no?
No,
who's number one on it?
Yeah, you've got the Ethereum Foundation is number one.
Just the Ethereum. That's what I thought. Okay, just the Ethereum Foundation. So yeah, we've had like the Ethereum Foundation, Coinbase, the top couple, and then some other entities for this Ethereum Strategic Reserve. So a couple of weeks ago, if you weren't here for this, Richard posted this and said, hey, I think you guys are missing one. And that, as usual, caused a bunch of people within this community to hit this guy up. I'm sorry, I always forget his name. Fabda, yeah. He's Fabda. So a lot of people hit him up, not necessarily in a mean way. They were just like, hey, don't forget about the Pulse Chain Sacrifice Fund. We have a lot of money in there as well. We would actually be number 2 and above Coinbase if we were added to it. And I 100%, and I'd like to know your thoughts, Ewok, but I 100% thought that this was another thing that would fall by the wayside. And even though people made, their thoughts known to Fabda, and he said he was going to look into it. I mean, to his credit, he was never like a prick about this or anything. Like, he was totally open to it. It was like, wow, you guys are loud. Okay. Like, let me look into this. And, maybe as soon as next week we could get this done. I thought it would fall by the wayside. I thought that it would be an afterthought. That would eventually kind of be gate kept, just like everything else. But we see the announcement yesterday in this tweet post right here from Fabda that they have officially added it. He said the Strategic ETH Reserve learned 2 things today. The Pulse Chain community is loud, loyal, and proud. Pulse Chain is very ETH aligned, holding a massive ETH reserve. Welcome to the SER, Pulse Chain. You're now inextricably tied to ETH success. So very cool that this was added on. I'm honestly stunned. I'm kind of surprised it's also just called Pulse Chain SAC. I thought that was kind of funny too. But yeah, just the fact that this happened, I honestly am shocked. I did not think they would go here, but this is a big thing. I mean, like, advertising wise, to show on a leaderboard like this that Pulse Chain is above Coinbase and barely in second place, just to show you how much this ecosystem holds. Yeah. What do you make of this? How big of a piece of news is this?
It's big. I don't know how big. this guy only has 11,000 followers. I don't know what kind of, I mean, I believe this is his own site. Like, I don't really think this has anything to do with Ethereum, or the
Yeah, I think you're
upper
right. Yeah.
upper echelon folks. I don't think the, the Ethereum Foundation, something like, none of those people did this. So this is his own work. Either way, it's very positive, and he had no reason to. I don't think anybody's going to come at him and say you really shouldn't list them. He's going to be like, it's my site. I'll do what I want.
True.
These people are showing me a lot of love. They're very resilient. They're very loud. He even said it. They're loud, loyal, and proud. So he had no reason not to. But how many people are going to see this? Well, he's been pretty active lately on X, so I've seen it over and over. I know our community, it's kind of fallen into that now, where the algorithm's picking it up. And I don't know how many other larger entities are on there. I'm trying to find a screenshot of it, because every time I try to open the website, it tells me that I'm not allowed for some reason. So I was hoping to see a screenshot of it, and I don't see it right now. But
I know there's another post of the leaderboard. I thought maybe I sent you that one, but yeah,
I thought so too, and now I don't see it anywhere. But either
I'll try to
way,
find it.
yeah. I think it's, again, I think it's good. I think it lets people know that there is a large amount of ETH. Richard, or the OA, or whoever owns it, whatever trust in whatever country owns this bag. But let's not forget, there's probably twice to three times as much sitting in other wallets from the OA,
Mhm.
or not from the OA, but from the AA, from the adoption amplifier.
Right.
We also know that the Godwill has a couple 100,000 ETH still. He was a Genesis whale. And I think he still has 200,000 or 300,000 ETH left. So there are many entities with roughly a million. There are rumors that there were about 1 million ETH that were collected from the adoption amplifier, that are spread amongst wallets. I don't think it was quite 1 million, but let's say even half of that, even if it was a 500,000,
Mhm.
that does not include this 100,000, doesn't include Godwill's couple 100,000. So roughly, we do have about a million ETH out there that are held by people that like to buy Richard Hart things. So just knowing that in general, I don't know how you can't be bullish on any of this. So super, super positive, great thing. And, people are sharing the hell out of it. So it's definitely catching eyes. I've seen other people state, wow, I didn't realize he had that much. Well, you probably don't realize how much Bitcoin he has either. And there's only a few
Yeah.
people that claim to know. The number 300,000 Bitcoin has been thrown out there many times. And, obviously it wasn't denied, wasn't admitted either, but there are quite a few Bitcoin out there that are held in some wallets as well, that like to buy these assets as well. So yeah.
I just sent you the one you initially sent me, Hexo's post. He actually had the leaderboard up there, so that should
Okay.
show
Yeah. Let me pull
a
that up then.
list. Yeah, there's like a list of 15 or something like that on there. So
Yeah. Let's take a look at that. I wanted to.
I didn't realize he only had 11K followers, but I mean, he's doing something. It's cool. I mean, RH is the one that reposted his chart, so I mean, he
Yeah.
thought it was an important thing. So
Well,
there
he
you go.
did, and he's the one that said, "Hey, I think you missed somebody," and he's the
Right.
one that started that. So, had he not, I don't know if people would have gone out of their way. They may have. Again, who knows whether it would have come to light had Richard not said something himself. It's not something to say, hey, let's broadcast this wallet that doesn't belong to me, but
Right.
just a weird scenario. But because he said, hey, I think you're missing somebody, I think that was enough for everyone to kind of jump on it and push the issue to say, yeah, list it. Here's all the wallets, guys. And um, Gerardo put that site out, look into rh.com, that has the whole tracking of all of the buys and everything like that. So
Yeah.
pretty cool.
So there you see it, Ethereum Foundation #1, but only has, I mean, only, but 100,000 more ETH than the Pulse Chain SAC. And then the Pulse Chain SAC has about 30,000 more than Coinbase, which is next in line. After that is the Golem Foundation. And then there's a pretty big drop off after that down to Gnosis DAO. I mean, after that, it's pretty US government. But yeah, you see a pretty big drop. It's just crazy to see that. I mean, to see rankings like this and to see Pulse Chain up that high. Richard has been banging on about this thing, like how much he wants Ethereum to do well, how invested in it he is. And, he's been kind of rooting for it and trying to strong arm Vitalik, for months into some kind of action of some sort. And then you see something like this and it's like, well, yeah, this is why. I mean, not only, it's not like just, oh, because I hold it, I want the price to go up, but it's also like, I've believed in this for such a long time, copy the system state onto a whole other chain. And obviously you see why the guy is so passionate about it. So I think it's great advertising. And I think this will probably be pushed even more as time goes on,
Yeah. The one thing to add about this, which, it could be more, it could be less. I did look up what the asterisk meant beside Coinbase's, and it said it was self-reported. So because they're a central, well, it could be. It very well could be. It could be a little bit more. It could be a little bit less. We don't know. Because it's a centralized exchange, and they have probably several wallets that they aren't divulging. This is the self-reported number. The same for the Gnosis DAO as well. I forget what the two asterisks mean by the government. Whether it was.
Well, they're definitely lying.
Well, no, those are all confiscated pretty much.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
So I think, but I don't know but I do know that the one asterisk means that it was self-reported. So you've got 3 of those. Ethereum Name Service is also a DAO that's self-reporting that as well. But again, I don't know what the two asterisks mean.
Okay.
Either way,
regardless,
it's still a big number.
It is, yeah. Very good stuff. Legend of Light, thank you for the super chat. Keep up the great work, guys. 1 million Ether out there in the ether. Whoa, yeah, you are correct. A lot is out there. So, hey, man, we really appreciate it, man or woman, whoever you are. But thank you very much, Legend of Light, for watching the show. We appreciate that very much. Hello, Destroyer. And, yeah, any final thoughts on the SUR, Strategic Ethereum Reserve?
No.
Okay.
No, that's like I said, it's a good thing. I think it's good to just get it out there. People should be retweeting this and help that guy get some more followers. I don't think it could do any harm by having it. Plus, when you open the site up, the Pulse Chain sacrifice, when you click on it, it goes right to pulsechain.com. So again, it's good advertising.
Very, yeah, I love it. Very, very good. Let's move on to this. So this was kind of our main topic. So Richard last week did a lot of posting about this Genius Act. Actually, I think it was just a few days ago, which currently just had some voting going on this week here in the U.S. It's basically an act to have more regulation over stablecoins, and there's a lot of things in it that sound spooky and scary about what the government could do and what they could require for different, stablecoin brokers and the kind of things that you would need to do to appease them, basically. But Richard posted about this quite a few times. I mean, I think there's 3 or 4 posts he walked, so whichever one that you would want to start with. But we can look over them and kind of discuss why it is this is so important to Richard, and like what actually is being voted on here. Because I think basically what just happened the other day is there was just a continuation of some of the things they were already discussing regarding them. But either way, it's to bring more clarity and more regulation to stablecoins, which we've already seen, I mean, Richard's talked about this, many people have in the past, kind of the bastardization of a lot of the stable coins that are on Ethereum. Like we know USDC is government backed. What used to be DAI on Ethereum, which is now, I don't even remember what it's no longer MakerDAO. What is that thing called again? It's like starts with an S, I think.
Sun something?
I think it is Sun. Something like that.
It was something weird. I don't even remember.
Anyway, it's like SUSD, I think it is now. SUSD. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and we already know that it has a lot of backing from USDC, which is, compromised by the government already. So this is what Richard initially posted. He said the Genius Act is basically corrals stablecoins into the banking world. No interest payouts, only licensed banks and buddies can issue them, and your favorite decentralized stablecoin might be outlawed. I know what my favorite decentralized stablecoin is. It's a stablecoin crackdown that protects, that's a quote, stablecoin crackdown that protects incumbents and should handcuff DeFi innovation, USDC, USDT, being Tether, of course, and DAI. I know, Sky, there you go. Thank you, Beyond All. Thank you. Yep. And then I think there's a thread to this. I think he may have posted something. There's definitely other posts that he has following up on this. If you happen to see them. If you scroll down, oh no, that's just Sami talking about PDI probably.
Yeah, it was a different thread. Hang on. Here it is. Well, okay. He goes in to talk about Section 4A.
Yeah, so he calls out Section 4A9. May not pay interest on yield to holders. AI says the Genius Act seems to just enrich giant corps that already issue stablecoins or profit on them and cripple their competition. Why would users want no yield in law? Happy to hear why the AI is mistaken. Yeah. Outlawing any kind of yield. I actually also, just in a separate window here, I was taking a look at
Did you freeze up? I think he froze up. I'm not sure what happened there. Yeah, so let's take a look here. He says even Oh, there you are. You were frozen.
Oh, really? Okay.
So everything you just
said, were you hearing what I was saying? Shit.
No. Okay. No, you completely froze till I just said something.
That was odd. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead with what you were saying then.
Well, no, continue, because I was just going to start reading this till we got you back.
Well, I was just looking at, and this is just kind of AI from Google in a separate window here, but it's just talking about, what is the Genius Act? Regulation of stablecoins. The Genius Act aims to create a comprehensive regulatory framework for stablecoins, addressing the lack of clear rules in the growing market. Issuance and transparency. It proposes new federal oversight mechanisms to ensure accountability from crypto firms, including requirements for issuance, transparency, and reserve requirements. Consumer protection. The bill includes provisions to protect stablecoin holders and enhance consumer confidence, such as requiring reserves to be backed by U.S. dollars and short-term treasuries. Reserve requirements. Stablecoins will be required to hold reserves of liquid, safe assets like treasury bills, ensuring their value is maintained. Marketing standards. The Genius Act establishes strict marketing standards for payment stablecoins, prohibiting misleading claims about government backing or insurance status. Federal oversight. The bill assigns regulatory oversight to either the Federal Reserve, or the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, depending on the size of the issuer. And bank involvement. The Genius Act would allow banks to issue their own stablecoins and provide related services, potentially transforming the role of banks in the crypto economy. So just some of the bullet points there. But he posted about this. So PayPal having a stablecoin. Not sure why the crippling of competition is helpful. Stand with Crypto explained. So I didn't really look over the PayPal thing, but what else do you make of this?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it seems like an easy way to get them back to the whole CBDC that we thought that regulation had kind of cracked down and said, no, we're not going to do that. This kind of reminds me of almost a backdoor to that whole program yet again that they're trying to sneak through. So Yeah, it's not good. I don't know if you saw or not the other day, but I saw that Circle was up for sale.
No, I did
Um,
not. No.
and obviously we know they own USDC. So yeah, I mean, I don't know that you would want. I know there was talks of Coinbase trying to buy them, um,
Hmm.
but yeah, no, it doesn't make sense. It just it pushes control back into very very few hands,
Right.
and then when you take the yield portion away, Richard always says if you want to compete with normal finance, you've got to mimic what the products that they have. And that's why Hex was kind of created, was a certificate of deposit where you could get yield trustlessly. So when you take that out of the stable coin even aspect of things, who's going to want to use it if they can't earn anything on it? So
Yeah.
it just doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. And then you've got people that will create different things to get around it, and different tokens that probably aren't backed by much that print yield. You're going to run into a very similar FTX type thing all over again when you start eliminating these aspects of stable coins. So yeah, it seems like it's a mess, and we need some people in there uh, to bring these points up. I wish that there were more people like Richard that were able to communicate with some of the people pushing these laws through, and um, talk to who was it, Massey, or not Massey, Tom Emmer, and
Hmm.
those type of people, to say why this is a terrible idea, and then get their voices heard. So
Yeah, I am with you. And I mean, this kind of even more just highlights the need for a truly decentralized stablecoin, which, depending upon who you are, luckily we may have developed in the development on Pulse Chain, obviously with PDI. So we are seeing it start to rally a little bit more. And there's been some action on chain in the last couple days with some things going on with it. So yeah, obviously Ewok is not a believer of that at all. I am still holding out hope and very interested to see what is going on with it. Definitely not saying who is behind any of it because I don't know, and really it doesn't matter. That's kind of the whole point. So I'm still holding what I have of it for sure. And yeah, I'm excited to see the story. I'm glad that it's kind of faded out of the public spotlight and people aren't even talking about it anymore when there used to be like a dedicated, Twitter spaces to it every single night. So we can kind of see exactly Hex Girl. See, Hex Girl knows what's up. I just want to make you aware
sorry,
of
Hex
that,
Girl.
Ewok. Hex Girl knows what is going on here. So
I love you,
um,
but I'm sorry, I can't get with
some
it.
some people out there they're hip to what's happening here, and Hex Girl's one of them. So yeah, I am along for the ride, and I love that people aren't even really talking about it anymore, or rarely are. It's still going to spark conversation as the price pumps here, but I like that it's kind of fallen by the wayside because I think we're going to start to see some bullish things happen here. So I'm excited about it. And yeah, I think that it is something that we need. And again, I don't want to give up on the dream of, what could be done if that were to get to $1 and what can actually happen with this ecosystem in terms of a feedback loop and being able to really pump things even more. So I'm along for the ride.
Can I give you my 7 reasons why I think it won't?
I mean, I won't even care. I mean, you can. Yeah, go ahead. They're not gonna, there's always reasons that anything can't happen. And I mean, layer by layer, piece by piece, those things can be broken down eventually also. So,
Sure.
I mean, I may look like an idiot, but I'm totally fine with that.
Well, I don't think you're an idiot. I just
You
think
called me an idiot with private DMs the other day. You were going on about what an idiot I was. You were going to say it on the air. Hex Girl wants to hear your 7 reasons, and there better be 7.
I have 7.
Mm-hmm.
The first one that I have is that nobody will collateralize their own bag. Okay. It takes the whole shooting for the massive gains out the window. You have to, when you have a stable coin, or okay, let's back up.
Go
I
ahead.
am not saying that PDI can't get to $1. I'm saying it can't peg to $1 because there's, first of all, people have to collateralize their own bag. That becomes a big part of it. And when you have at least 110% collateralized, then you have the backing. Okay. If you took right now the value that all these people have so cheaply, and gave them the option to collateralize their own bag, they would, some of these people have billions, right? And there's no way they could collateralize their own bag. The other thing is you can't collateralize it for them. So you can't have an entity step in and say, I'm going to collateralize the whole system, because it won't let you do that. You can't collateralize somebody else's tokens. It just won't let you do it. There's nothing in place to allow it to have a backing. That's reason number 2. Reason number 3 is now there is no maker bot in place. It was shut down, so that doesn't exist. Number 4 is you can't prop up a dollar stable coin by fake value. So you can't manipulate it with other things. Like, so you can't manipulate it with, because it's tied to something else that you could probably drive the price up to increase it. You can't back it with fake volume. Okay. So that's number 4. Number 5, there was way too much of it that was bought at damn near zero price. 0.0000 whatever one is where it all started. So again, going back to, if you, no, I Valent Loki, I get that. It doesn't need, you can make money.
You can keep talking. You don't have to.
Well, no, I'm agreeing with a lot of their points, but anyway, there was way too much of it that was bought for next to nothing. And when that happens, people don't value it. They don't value it at $1. When you buy something for fractions of a penny, you don't value it. You don't value it at $1. You don't even think it's worth $1. You're only hoping that it goes up to make money. That's number 5. Number 6 is Richard didn't give it his blessing. And I hate to say
it, of course not. As he should not. I agree.
Well, most things in this ecosystem, if he doesn't give it his blessing, it's not going to work out. So that's number 6. Number 7 is maker folks still have the keys. There's no denying that, and they control it. So I don't know. There's my 7 reasons why it's not going to peg. And take it for what you will, but
well, I mean, you bring up some valid points, and you know, it causes me to say PDI to $1. So
there you go.
Guess we'll see what happens here. It's going to be very interesting, whatever happens either way. And it's just that kind of spirited delusion that keeps these things going. So we shall see. But
and you know, I will say that there are ways that people can still make money on it. Speculation, whatever, there's still belief and still some crazy stories out there being drummed up by some people who have very big bags of it. And if you fall into those traps and start believing the stories, then you know it could run and you could make some money. I just there is no mechanism in place anymore for it to peg. Honestly, if you want to do a stable coin, you've got to do it from the start. You've got to issue it. You've got to collateralize it from the beginning and then issue the tokens. People, when you pay $1 for something, people will value it at $1. When you pay, again, fractions and fractions of a penny, they don't value it at $1. That's for sure. So when it does go up, it's going to crash down pretty hard because, again, there's nothing there to keep it there. And the hundreds of millions of tokens that are out there are going to be sold off. So with nothing to keep it up there.
I like RH Max's thinking here that what
He
we
wants to go to
really,
$2.
yeah, we want
We send Hex. Can we send Hex to $2 instead of PDI?
Well, hey, a lot of people would be happier if PDI went to $2. I think actually this cycle. I don't know, depending on what they're DCAing on. But yeah, I would take take any of these things to 20 cents even. So yeah, we shall see. Going to be interesting. People bring up a lot of good, valid points. Hex Girl, I love what you said there, and I agree. I'm not even going to put it up on the screen because I'm doing my best to not even tie that individual to anything to do with PDI, obviously. But yeah, I agree with you. You would want to distance yourself, obviously, and don't think he has anything to do with it. So, yeah. And anyway, I mean, a lot of crazy stuff going on with stablecoins right now. This is something that's going to continue to be a big thing throughout this cycle, obviously. So we will see what happens regulation-wise. And, you know, it is cool that we at least do have this good administration, crypto-friendly regulation, or I was reading comments as I'm speaking, crypto-friendly administration, my bad. So we got a lot of good stuff going on right now. We got BTC hitting a new all-time high, according to DJ New Boy, my bad. 110K BTC, looking good. So we are moving. Any final thoughts on PDI to $1, Ewok?
No.
Okay. So that is that. We'll continue to follow the Genius Act. It's going to be interesting, and I think it's something that RH is going to be posting about a whole lot. So we'll get into that. We have a couple directions we could go. I do think we have to talk about the Charles Hoskinson news. So, you know, this is very interesting. So if you're new to this, I'm sure you're not probably if you're watching this, but Charles Hoskinson, you know, one reason that he's been talked about a lot in pulse chain circles over the last few months is because when Richard, you know, prior to him absolutely annihilating and defeating basically everybody in his path, Richard was, you know, tied down with the corrupt SEC and the, you know, claims that they filed against him that a judge vehemently basically trashed all of, literally every single count, and Richard literally won the lawsuit. Not dropped, not settled, nothing like that. The judge 100% sided with Richard Hart. He defeated them going away, not even close, trounced them. During that time, Charles Hoskinson was referencing that case a lot, acting as if the SEC, you know, had a valid claim. And then what I didn't appreciate kind of about what he did is just the way that he cited what he said were facts without really coloring them in at all. Not just about the SEC, but then also what he was talking about. He kept calling it a red notice case, like there was a case going on with a red notice or something like that. You know, and it's fine. Like if you want to just like present headlines, then you kind of see what happens as Charles is seeing now. Like if you just want to present headlines that you're seeing somewhere without doing any due diligence to color them in or understand what Interpol actually is or what their history of corruption is. Obviously, nobody really takes the SEC seriously anymore, and they're a totally reshaped entity now that Paul Atkins and this administration has taken them over. But Charles did not in any way come to Richard Hart's aid. I don't want to say necessarily that he like shit on him or totally threw him under the bus, but he certainly was not positive about anything going on with Richard. And whenever Pulse Chain people try to clarify things to him, it's really weird. I think Charles really enjoyed the attention, honestly, that stuff was getting him. And I think the engagement was fun, you know, maybe because there isn't as much happening with Cardano right now. I'm not sure what it is. But whenever Pulse Chain people would kind of come back at him, he just started blocking them and then posting so much about Pulse Chain and how I'm not going to talk about Pulse Chain again and all these things. And he just keeps on doing it. So anyway, that brings us to what's happening with him right now. And there were rumors of him rolling back the chain. So this was the first post. And I actually think Cryptos R Us might have deleted this post because I couldn't find it from him. But he said, in case you missed it, Cardano founder Charles Hoskinson is accused of rewriting the network ledger to manipulate token flows and seize control of $619 million worth of the ADA token. That's Cardano's token. Charles denies the claims, and the Cardano Foundation is preparing to launch an official audit report on the issue. So it's not just that he rolled back the chain, it's also these fraud allegations, which are allegations that were also brought against Richard Hart and totally dismissed as the SEC tried to allege that in a civil case. So short version from Jay Cryptos here. Oh, I'm sorry. That's okay. We can go over to this. So anyway, there's fraud allegations essentially against Charles Hoskinson. He constantly now has been posting for people to like look more into this. What are you doing just talking about headlines, which is just again pretty weird considering the background that we just gave about exactly what he was doing with Richard Hart. So he says, Charles does, I'm absolutely disgusted by the conduct of the crypto media. I mean, I can't even believe this. Any semblance of objective or fair reporting has been thrown out the window in favor of maximally viral clickbait. This is just crazy. The fact that every party connected to the ADA voucher redemption has publicly stated there is no fraud, no allegations came from any law enforcement, regulatory body, lawsuit, or buyer. The person alleging misconduct has no connection or inside knowledge of the sale or the processes, and there's an audit underway from BDO to explain the sale. Any credible media agency, given these facts, would understand that it is fundamentally irresponsible to propagate news suggesting the possibility of massive theft. The headlines I've seen are beyond damaging. They will require months, if not years, of work and millions of dollars to undo post-audit. If you participated in this insanity, then know that you're scum. You hurt people. My, how the tables have turned. Yeah.
Doesn't that sound familiar?
It does. Wildly. I don't know where I've heard this story before. Yeah. Huh.
Crypto media attacking somebody and making up stories and don't know what they're talking about. And then everybody kind of runs with it. And then everybody's scum because they propagate such articles and allusions to everybody else. Boy, karma just really sucks. Huh.
Yeah, I don't know where I've seen this before, that people just read headlines and spout them off and believe them to be true to their huge following and constantly talk about them. Yeah, just very, very odd. Yeah, exactly, Johnny. Welcome to reality. So obviously, Charles here, I mean, whether you believe in karma or not, he's now dealing, and who knows what happened here. I don't know entirely what happened. I mean, I tend to probably side with Charles that maybe there isn't any wrongdoing going on here. Maybe things just look a certain way or something like that. That's kind of the difference between how you can react to this news versus how he chose to react to the Richard Hart stuff. And
yeah,
I mean, let's face it, like back to the Richard Hart stuff that was going on and Charles' reaction to it, that was all because he just doesn't like Richard. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he thinks he's actually being fair and truthful by just saying like, well, there is a red notice case and there is an SEC, there's fraud. But he also just doesn't like him. And I think it's because of the way that Richard has acted in the past. I mean, he alluded to it himself. He didn't really hide it. It's because he just doesn't like Richard's personality. And let's face it, I mean, Richard and Pulse Chain and stuff is, I think already was and is definitely on the precipice of being like significantly more in, the interest of most crypto people than compared to Cardano. So,
yeah. Well, Richard has also in the past brought up some of the not faults, I guess some of the concerns about Cardano, and reasons why he wouldn't own it or buy it. So, there was definitely that. He talked, I don't want to say he didn't talk badly about it, but he did bring up some of the issues that they were having at the time. Whether they got fixed or not, he was speaking truth. So, yeah, Charles didn't care for that whenever he spoke badly about his project. So, I mean, whatever. Like I said, karma kind of sucks. And now he's kind of facing the same thing where the crypto news media is maybe not reporting 100% accuracy. And there are people out there running with it. News travels fast, and it doesn't matter if it's true or not. If somebody says, well, I read it here and this and that, for me personally, again, I'm kind of with you there and think maybe, there is nothing to this and they fixed it, whatever. I'll reserve judgment until the audit's done and see what they say before I make any opinion. I just think it's very ironic of how he's acting now when there's bad news about him out there. And it's completely the opposite when there was bad news about Richard and, he was found innocent of any fraud charges, and the SEC dropped the case. So,
well, this isn't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I said it's just kind of ironic how it all works out.
Well, and this isn't Charles' first rodeo. I mean, back in the day, years ago, when he felt, when things were, I forget the exact scenario, but I know it went to the tune of when things were going on with Ripple, something negative was going on with XRP. He was all okay piling on or not being there. But then when suddenly the target shifts to him, it's, hey, Ripple, how can we work together and do work together on this whole thing? This is a pattern of him throughout history. And now we're seeing the exact same thing happening here again. I think it shows so far. Who knows? Maybe something is coming. I don't know. So far, Richard's not commented on this. So, kind of interesting that Charles, was totally okay just reading whatever headlines that he saw about what was going on with Richard, and just reading the headlines, spouting off about it, not knowing any details. And now the exact same thing is happening to him. And like, shame on you. The crypto media is scum and all this. I mean, how does he not see it? Maybe he does. I don't know. It doesn't appear that he does, though.
Yep.
I don't know. Yeah.
No, it's funny. Again, the irony is pretty interesting.
I'm not going to. One thing I will say is I'm not going to like kick him while he's down. I mean, it's one thing whether you actually actively offer help or something like that, but I'm not going to do what he did to the people in this ecosystem and did in response to Richard Hart whenever it was going on. During that whole time, Richard never responded to him, never said anything about it. And yeah, somebody said this in the chat earlier. Maybe he needs to be referenced to Quinn Emanuel to dealing with some of his issues right now.
Right.
Yeah.
It's probably, it's better that Richard it doesn't affect him one way or another. So he's probably best to just stay out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. So we'll see how this story does develop. I mean, I'm not going to dunk on, I don't want anything bad to happen to Cardano. I don't want anything bad to happen to Cardano holders or anything. It's just that I think the lesson here, if you're Charles, is maybe behave the way that you wish that others were behaving and not just read stuff at face value. And then whenever it's just, you can't treat people like that. And then whenever you're down, want it to be reciprocated positively.
Right.
You can't have your cake and eat it too in this sense. So we'll see what happens there.
There's a lot of pulsicans and hexicans piling on for sure. And, letting him know how wrong he was whenever, he said the things that he did, and now the shoe's on the other foot, and it doesn't feel so good.
Yeah, Shadow Band, RH perhaps taking the moral high ground here. I think he could do that. I think at the very least something he may do is comment on the situation, he would not mention Hoskinson whatsoever. I know he wouldn't, whereas Charles did that to him. He would say something to the effect of it appears like the Cardano blockchain had been rolled back recently and potentially, this amount of money was misappropriated or something like that. There's no way he would comment on Charles Hoskinson. And really, is that even, as much as it would be a feather in RH's cap, is that even something that you want right now? Do you even want, I know he likes to dunk on things that he was right about, but is that even something that you want to mess with at the moment? You know what I mean?
And if anything, he may even provide advice, or he may do something like that because, he does like to be what he calls the giving tree. Yes, I think so too. So we will see what happens with Charles. Godspeed to Mr. Hoskinson. We'll see how that whole thing pans out. Let's see here. There's a couple places we could go. Do you want to kind of finish up with the Coinbase hack that happened last week, Ewok? Because that happened the day. Sure. We can go wherever you want. No, if you have something else you want to say, you do that. I don't care. Whatever you want to do. Yeah, I don't know that it was really a hack.
That's what your noise was about. Okay.
Not
a hack, I guess.
Yeah, we can do it. Do you want me to play the Armstrong video?
So I'll just set it up real quick. Yeah. So if you didn't see it, there was not a hack. I shouldn't have wrote that. But basically a ransom type of thing. There was a threat to Coinbase. What was it? $20 million, I think, that these people were requesting. And
yes,
they wanted the Coinbase employees to give them all this different information and things like that. And I forget the exact numbers. I think it was 1% or sub 1% of users on Coinbase data or information was leaked.
Yeah.
Something to that
Yeah, it
effect.
was about 1%. Richard had said originally a million or so cryptocurrency folks had their data stolen. And then he backed it up and said, actually, it may only be 100,000 if their active monthly users are 10 million. So there was 10%. So yes.
So, I mean, to really go to the bare bones of this, like KYC when it comes to crypto is one thing that people just don't like. And we try to avoid at all costs. But unfortunately, it's been kind of a necessary evil of at least getting into like the blockchain of your choice, where you have Coinbase, Kraken, whatever exchange it may be. You send in your selfies and stuff like that. They have your social, all, your picture of your dog and stuff like that. And you're on these exchanges and everything. And it's just something that people want to get away from when it comes to crypto. And this is an exact reason why, because if there's some kind of compromise somewhere, then your data is out there, which is a gigantic thing, especially when you're crypto minded and you're trying to live freely on the blockchain. So pretty unacceptable when it comes to Coinbase. And I was going to say this too. It's really funny that this happened now. There must be a concerted effort, and with the bull market picking up. But Ewok, you, I, and DJ and Moonboy, literally within like a 3-day span, we were just texting a couple of weeks ago, and we were all getting solicited by something. We all got texts or emails or whatever it was from an entity claiming to be Coinbase. And I forget exactly what it was like. I already deleted mine, obviously, but it was just different ways of trying to get you to click a link or provide them with a certain type of information. Or I think mine was like, someone has tried to access your account. And I was like, okay, why didn't I get a notification in the Coinbase app?
Right.
Why am I getting a text?
Mine was Gemini.
Yeah.
But either way, yeah, they're going to be out in full force trying to get your information now. I mean, now's the time to, if you're going to steal from people right now, while everything is not really worth as much, people aren't paying as much attention to it. You're going to start getting phishing emails all the time. So if you see something in an email that says your account was hacked, click here, or never click a link in an email. First of all, always go to the site directly, log in with your login information, and see if you have any kind of notification that something's going on. Usually you're going to find out that it's a cloned email address that's made to look like their logo, everything like that. I mean, it looks legit. They usually do. Or you get a text message to your phone, even like they have your information, right? I mean, you can see here that they said that here's the things that they got: name, address, phone, and email, usually the last 4 digits of your social, some bank account numbers, government ID, account data, corporate data if you have a corporate account. Now, they didn't get your keys, your login credentials, any ability to move your funds or anything like that, access to Coinbase Prime account, or access to Coinbase or customer hot or cold wallets. Now, what happened was they didn't even hack into the system. They bribed some of the customer support people that are in another country, and they paid them off for access to the system and access to this information. And those people in that third world country that were acting as customer support took the money and said, here you go. Here's the information. Have at it.
Crazy.
So it wasn't even a hack. That's the bad
Yeah.
part, is that somebody on the inside gave them access to it. So really, really just a bad situation.
Definitely is. And the major thing from most of crypto Twitter was like, this is just unacceptable for an entity as large as Coinbase, that something like this can happen. And what does it take? Like, not allowing those people to somehow connect with the representatives in third world countries, or not having certain types of employees in third world. Where is the, where did things go wrong, basically? Where can they change things?
Yep.
what was interesting, like you said, we don't have to play it, I don't think, because we can pretty much get right to what the point was. But Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, then did issue a video. He typed a response and had a video response, but essentially the kind of big headline of it was that he said that he was going to turn the issue on his head and offer a $20 million bounty. I don't know if that would be the right word, but on, you know, the head of whoever was the perpetrator of this. So people could start sleuthing and getting after that. I'm curious what you made of that. I mean, I think that was an interesting idea, but obviously people were just not pleased that this happened to begin with. So I don't know that they have any room for, you know, celebrating any idea by Brian Armstrong after the fact.
Well, you know, they have the information already.
Yeah.
They wanted $20 million to not release it or not do anything with it. $20 million isn't going to stop them. I mean, you know, they could take the 20 million and then still have the information. You know, it's not going to stop anything. So he decided what he was going to do was offer I'm not paying you. You already have it. You're not going to, you know, you're not going to give it back without taking a copy of it or whatever you're going to do. And then flip the script and say, I'm going to offer anybody a $20 million reward, bounty, whatever you want, to let me know who this is. And, you know, we'll press charges so that they can't do anything with it. Now, again, it doesn't mean they can't sell it to somebody else or whatever. The information is out there. So you might as well consider it gone and in the wind and on the dark web at this point. I'm sure it already is. So,
right.
Yeah, I like what he did. I don't give in. You know, we don't pay terrorists. So,
yeah,
you know, we don't negotiate with terrorists. I guess that's the saying. So,
yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I thought it was an interesting idea and cool to do. And this would be a good time getting some people are kind of sharing some different ones in the chat here. But Ewok, we should probably just take a minute to kind of let people know of the different types of scams you will see as the bull market picks up, because we are starting to, I mean, we have BTC at all-time highs literally tonight. You have Ethereum finally making a move. Pulse Chain's looking good. We have some things happening here. What are some of, we don't have to go way too deep, but just maybe 2 or 3 of the like big time crypto scams that people should watch out for? And I will say, I mean, there are a lot of them that are subtle and you can see how they can be successful even against a pretty smart person. Like I remember when I was first in crypto, seeing those, and I don't know if they'll be around this time again. I haven't seen them lately, but those fake live streams where it would be like Elon Musk, Kathy Wood from ARK, and like Jack Dorsey. And they would all be having a conversation and there would be links like, oh, send an Ethereum here, we'll send you 2 back. And it's like Elon Musk's, you know, giveaway or whatever the hell. I mean, that trope just in general of send me an ETH and I'll send 2 back. I mean, that should be pretty obvious, but I mean, that's always going to be something you want to stay away from. But you know, you've been the victim of other attempts. So there was something that you had sometime last year where you got a phone call, much like DJ and Moonboy is talking about here. You got a phone call from somebody that it was pretending to be like Coinbase support or something like that.
Yep. Yeah, and what they were doing, they called me. They asked me to log in. I forget how they did it. They gave me a number to log in with or something like that, and then I realized what was happening quickly, and it was they tried to change the password to the email. They actually got access to my Twitter, which I immediately logged in and set up 2FA that I didn't have at that time. And that's the 2-factor authentication, in case nobody knows what 2FA is. But I stopped it. I wised up halfway through it and realized what was happening right in front. Like I was so mad at myself for even falling for it. But they sound so real, and the number comes from they can make it come from wherever. It can come from Coinbase, you know. So yeah, it's just there's that. There's you know, I just put this email or this post up here the other day where this person woke up to all their crypto wallets being drained.
Yeah.
They go on to tell you what happened. They actually don't tell you what happened, but they stored their stuff on the cloud. Um, just their seed phrases, their passwords. These people got into their bank accounts. Their crypto wallets were drained. So basically, what was happening was they stored all their private keywords, bank passwords, probably everything they had it stored on the cloud, and the cloud got hacked. So you just have to be extremely careful. There are other ways. I think I don't know if you remember when I think Nerd Girl got hacked recently
Oh
for a
yeah.
lot of her crypto, and they sent her something. They asked her to be a part of the team of something. They sent her something to download. She downloaded it. It had a Trojan virus in it, and they got control. They got into her computer. They took the keys, and drained her wallet. So they're very clever, and they sound like they want to sometimes offer you a job or give you an opportunity to test a game, or hey, we created this game, why don't you download it and tell me what you think. They'll get in your messages and things like that. Just be extremely careful. Don't trust anybody. If you don't know them, don't trust them. Even if you do know them, be very leery. You know, because people can hijack your friends' accounts. And even if you think you may know them, it may not be them. That's another thing where they're stealing people's accounts and going in to look and see where they have random conversations with people, and they can tell if you know somebody, and act like your friend and say, hey, I've been doing this or whatever, check it out. So yeah, there's just so many little ways to protect yourself. Get a Trezor. If you get one, don't buy it secondhand. Don't buy it on Amazon. Don't buy it anywhere other than the company that sells them or that makes them. Never get it on eBay or Amazon or anything like that. You've got to, what's that say?
Sorry, I was just so digital money markets, yeah, sharing something kind of similar to, and I think we all maybe when we were new in crypto did something like this. I know it seems stupid now looking back, but when you're new, you really don't know. But the story that you're sharing, you walk something similar to digital money markets, as my heart
Yeah.
sunk into my gut last week when I checked my Yahoo Mail photos and I saw a photo I made in 2021, new to crypto, that I made of my seed phrase. I didn't get hacked, but deleting the photo. I mean, honestly, I'd be paranoid enough to go a step further. And if you're
Yep.
able to just
Move.
populate a new wallet, move it
Yep.
to another wallet. Now, if that's your hardware wallet, I'm trying to remember, you can
Yes.
generate like a new one, right?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
That would be my suggestion is, here's the problem. If you have staked hex, unfortunately, you can't
Mm,
move it. It's stuck.
yeah.
It's stuck on that seed phrase, whatever it is. Now, if you just have tokens, move them, generate a new seed phrase and brand new wallet, whatever it is, and move everything that you can, because you don't know. Maybe they're waiting. Maybe you don't know
Mhm.
what's hacked and what's not, unfortunately, and somebody could have access to it, or taken it and just not done anything with it. A lot of times they sit on these things and they wait until there's value there. So it's just be safe, as safe as you can. If there's any way that you think that anybody may have anything, I still recommend a completely different computer that you use, not anything that you surf with or use on an everyday basis, on top of the hardware wallet. So yeah, just be extremely careful. Anytime you think that there may be a chance, move it. Generate a new wallet and move everything over. Yeah, you may have to pay a little bit in fees to get it, but you're not going to lose your entire holding.
It's just one of those things. I agree with you 100%. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you will have some more inconvenience, but increased security. That's always the two switches that you're toggling. The more inconvenience it is, it sucks and everything. Maybe you have to go slower. Maybe it's annoying, but you also do have more security by that. And it's like, will it help you sleep better at night? You know? And like you said, yeah, what if somebody was playing the long game? What if they do have access to it and they're not doing anything right now? You know? Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I would want to move that stuff. And you know, we're not singling anybody out. I mean, I think I can say when I was new in crypto, I definitely, for some wallet, I don't even know what the hell I had in it. It was probably useless crap that went to zero. But I definitely had a seed phrase like labeled with what the wallet was, like in my email somewhere. You know, I mean, it's just crazy. And who knows, you may even be able to get away with that, but I don't know why you would want to risk that. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, that does sound like what happened with our friend here on the screen. Is he did have a lot of his stuff saved on the cloud and stuff like that. So yeah, you just
for sure
want to be careful. It's a scary, scary feeling.
You can even take it a step further too, as if you don't have access to a hardware wallet, you can create a wallet, get the private key, and then create another wallet and import the private key into it, so that if they get in, they only have access to the seed word on the wallet. They don't have the private key that you imported. They're not going to get anything. So it's just an extra layer of protection. You know, the more you can do to prevent it and make it harder for somebody, the better off you are.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Always remember, the more inconvenient, the better your security will be. So we're going to see that stuff ratcheted up here in the bull market later this year for sure, even now. So just keep your eyes peeled and always be like looking at Twitter and stuff like that, just to see what other people are running into. You know, it's good. Well, I don't want to say it's good to see these stories, because it's horrible, obviously, for the people that it happens to. But if there's anything that can come from it, if you or somebody else can learn, then that helps. You know, we need to see that stuff out there. So
yeah, there's another one too. Don't ever go to Telegram groups for any kind of tech support. You'll end up with nothing.
Yeah, those are rampant with that kind of stuff for sure. So okay, well, I think that kind of covers it. I'm really glad we got into an offshoot of that Coinbase discussion there to kind of talk about people's security, because it is definitely of utmost importance. So we're going to wrap it up. We appreciate everybody being here tonight. We have a lot of great things to look forward to. BTC at a new all-time high as we are on stream here tonight. I haven't checked it for an hour and a half here, so I guess we did hit 110. Yeah, it's almost at 110 here. So
we sure did. Looks like the 110,788 is the high so far today.
Awesome, man. Very cool. We got ETH almost at 2,600. So things are looking good. Pulse chain is starting to move up. It is time to lock in over the next 6 to 18 months. I guess we'll see, but it's really, really time to be focused on this and try not to miss a beat. I know it's hard. We got the summer months coming here, and things are going to be warming up. People are probably going to be doing things, but we really want to be paying attention to this market right now. So we appreciate all of you guys. Hex Girl, thank you very much. Checks My Pulse, DJ Moonboy, Digital Money, Marcus, Iconoclast. Good stuff from you tonight. Mr. Chinks. We got Marco Marcello, of course, here every week as well. Good stuff from Shadow Band for Life, and a lot more. I'm forgetting the name of the super chat earlier, but we appreciate you for that. We had RH Max in here, Tam, Johnny Chaos, lots of content creators. So thank you all so much. We will be back here next week, same time, same channel, right here on the Creative Crypto. This is Broke Boy Crypto for Crypto Ewok. We'll catch you guys next week here on the Creative Crypto.
See ya.